My name's Kevin Andrew Maddock. I'm 75, turned 75 the other day, and I've been visiting prisons since I was about 16 when I first started.
Where do you think compassion lies in the act of criminology?
I think sometimes the prisoners get very hard and psychotic in their life, but there is always a certain amount of compassion there for their friends or their loved ones, especially their little children. But compassion for each other is very much less than it is in normal society. I remember one chap who had a very bad record over the long years, and he said people don't think we have remorse, but they don't see the tears at 2 o'clock in the morning when we remember and we're sad about our actions and our words. I guess I believe that there is, while they're alive, there's time for redemption, there's time for change, but some of them leave it very late. Because of human beings and the way we are created and the divine spark, there is always time for change. Even though everybody else wants retribution, they reach out for grace at some point. One of my experiences in the prison system, watching people care for each other, some who had an extremely bad name for violence, and that they would care for others, especially older people, and really show genuine care and love for them and care for them, support them, especially if they were not well.
All right, this is my reflection for the interview portrait. I think the most successful part of the interview was the cohesiveness of it, besides the ending, which I'll talk about just in a minute. The interview itself actually contained about 3 or 4 questions, but I was able to kind of seamlessly put them all together because they kind of all linked under the umbrella of the compassion in criminology. And so I'm very happy with how I kind of begun with one question, and then that carried it the whole way through instead of being kind of interrupted with little questions in between. It just makes it feel a bit more complete. However, I think the most problematic part was the ending, and how it's a bit abrupt. It kind of just ends. I really wanted there to be a conclusionary statement where it's kind of wraps everything up with a nice little bow, and I intended to do so, but I guess in the moment it just slipped my mind and I just didn't do it, which I guess Murphy's Law, all that sort of stuff. A big discovery I made was the amount you can kind of change and switch things around in the edit. Like, of course, I knew that was a possibility, but until I truly experienced how much I could change the order of sentences or answers come before and after each other, it was truly astounding. Like, the unedited version of this interview is very, very different to the final edit. And I kept the same meaning, right? I didn't change the truth of the story or what he was trying to say in any way, shape, or form, but I just made it a bit more palatable in terms of a narrative. So yeah, moving forward, I'm not gonna underestimate the power of the edit. One key lesson I learned was to always double, triple check your gear. Make sure you have everything you need. Make sure nothing will be brought down because you just forgot a simple item. For example, when collecting materials for the shoot, I had everything packed, we left, I was on the train, and I realized I forgot the cord for the audio. So I wouldn't be able to use the lapel mic I'm using now, which has quite good audio quality, and I would have to use a backup I brought in case of this exact scenario, which is just an onboard Rode mic for the camera. I mean, it is good that I had that contingency, but without the lapel mics, I feel like the product would be significantly worse. Very luckily, my grandfather had the cord I needed, but if that didn't happen, I would be kind of screwed. Like, honestly, I might have just done it on another day, because audio is such a make or break quality in a film or whatever it is, and I really did not want to screw up on it. From now on, I think from this lesson, I'm going to make every single shoot that I'm doing like this. I mean, maybe not when I'm in my house, but what I'll do is I'll make an organized checklist, so have a kind of heading that says audio, and then the audio materials, and the visual materials, and the props, you know? So that way, it's a bit less cluttered in my mind. And because it's less cluttered, I should forget less and less as time goes on, just a random chord or a random thing that I need on that day. But we'll see how that turns out. All right, and I think that wraps my reflection. Again, it was a really, really, really good experience to do this interview. I loved editing it so much. That was definitely the highlight of it for me. Although the interview went fantastic. The talent, my grandfather, he was a very good sport, and I'm very, very thankful for his cooperation, and I think it turned out pretty well. So I guess I'll see you next time.